ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिविकासस्वामिने नामिने। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिने नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाञ्चारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादे पाश्चात्य जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे। So we're going to start. We are going to read from the book Śrī Bhaktyāloka. I think devotees may not have this book. It is written by Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭ𝚑ā𝚔, and it is very, very important because it takes two important aspects of our sadhana bhakti into consideration. One is the obstacles in our devotional service and favorable things in our devotional service. These two things Bhaktivinoda Thakur takes from the two verses of lecture of instruction, Śrī Upadeshamrita, given by Śrīla Rupa Goswami. Recently, Bhanu Maharaj also has translated Bhaktivinoda Thakur's this book. So we are reading from, this is by Bhumipati Prabhu's book. I don't have the Bhanu Maharaj book. If you want to read from that, that's also fine. So for the time being, we are reading from this book, Śrī Bhaktyāloka, Illuminations on Bhakti. Actually, Bhaktyāloka means the abode of devotion. Bhaktyāloka. So without wasting any more time, so we will start to read. So we will read the same way how we were reading the modern mission of Śrīla Prabhupada book. So I will read for some time. I will pick up some other devotee to read, and then I'll continue to read. And wherever it is required, anybody wants to stop and wants to ask, they can raise their hand and they can ask. Or anytime I want to speak from something from Prabhupada's books, we can speak. Okay. Lokam karati vachalam gayati girim kapadamam vinde shikram karanam paramandamadavam shishitarisharam Vanta pravishya mahachanam prasiddham sanjeevaya kutla shakti dharasvidhamam swasta charanashram dhamam pranamam vatakote namo bhaktivedaya sachidanandanam pavadashakti swarupaya rupamga bharayati Vijiguru Harivanya Krishna Vichita Danda Sansara Pita Prabhu Bhajana Sukha Brahma Jin Sanskrit Vijay Vikasa Bhakti. Okay. Śrī Bhaktyāloka by Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākur, translated by Bhumipati Das. 6 faults that destroy bhakti. Atyahara, overeating or too much collecting. In his Śrī Upadeshamrita, Śrīla Rupa Goswami has written the following verse. Atyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyamagraha janasangascha laulyam cha shadbhir bhaktir vinashyati. One's devotional service is spoiled when it becomes too entangled in the following 6 activities. Number 1, atyahara, eating more than necessary or collecting more funds than required. Number 2, prayasa, over endeavoring for mundane things that are very difficult to obtain. Number 3, prajalpa, talking unnecessarily about mundane subject matters. Number 4, niyamagraha, practicing the scriptural rules and regulations only for the sake of following them and not for the sake of spiritual advancement, or rejecting the rules and regulations of the scriptures and working independently or principally. Number 5, Janasanga, associating with worldly minded persons who are not interested in Krishna consciousness. And 6, Laulyam, being greedy for mundane achievements. It is most important to consider the deep meaning of this verse. For anyone who wants to engage in pure devotional service, it is especially necessary to follow the instructions of this verse. For one who neglects to follow these instructions, attaining devotion to Lord Hari is extremely rare. We are hereby elaborating the meaning of this verse for the benefit of those who have a strong desire to attain pure devotional service. Okay, before continuing, I just want to tell some things which I don't know whether devotees know it or not. These instructions which are given by Sri Rupa Goswami in in Sri Upadeshamrita, these are not new. Rupa Goswami didn't invent it. These are called as Shubhashitas. Did anybody hear about Shubhashita? Shubhashita. Can they raise their hands if they heard about Shubhashita? No? Shubhashitas you didn't hear? No. Shubhashita means Atindriya Prabhu. Yes. You heard about this?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Dhanodbala.
Shubha, yes, tell me.
Yeah, in our childhood, we have heard this word.
Yeah. What is happening is actually the thing is these are the moral instructions which are meant, which they used to, since generations, it's a tradition to follow certain instructions, whether it may be eating. So it's basically the whole thing is to regulate our life in such a way that we develop God consciousness or spiritual consciousness. That's the main thing. So Rupa Goswami dovetailed the whole thing into Krishna consciousness. Actually, if you see, even in the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, when they teach about the Ashtanga Yoga, when they teach about asanas, everything, they also teach these Atyahara, Prayasa, Prajalpo, Nimagra, Janasanda, Chalolyam, and Utsaha, Dhairya, Nishya, Tatat, Karma, Pravartana, Sato Vitte, Sangatyaga, Sato Vitte, Tadabir Bhakti. So these are not new. These are Shubhashitas which are there since since the time of Vedic culture, since time immemorial. And Rupa Goswami, he doubted in such a way that they seem to be like they are meant. If you don't follow them, this Krishna consciousness, you can't sadhana bhakti, you can't advance. So this is the like Vyakarana. Vyakarana is already there, but what is that? Sanatan Goswami made it in such a way that he made it into a Harinama Amrita Vyakarana. I think Gopal Bhatta Goswami has written this Harinama Amrita Vyakarana. So the thing is, it has full names of the Lord. Everywhere you go, everywhere you see in the Vyakarana, it's the name of the Lord. They don't say Dirgha Sutri, they say Vamana Sutra. Vamana means he increases. So everywhere in the Vyakarana, you can see the Lord's name. The holy name of the Lord is there. I mean, these direct names of the Lord are through the names of the Lord, you can learn the Vyakarana. So this is like that. And even in if you see as I was telling, in Ashtanga yoga procedure, even in asanas, even in yoga schools, particularly these two verses, are being spoken extensively. So, without any due, we will read.
So the origin of these verses is like, as you're saying, Shubhasha.
It is called Subhashita. It is written by, given by the tradition, some, like, Dharma Shastras, Subhashitas, some sages. See, previously, they used to, just like Narottam Das Thakur's songs are in line with the Vedic scriptures. But it is not that they will give reference, I would tell you one thing. Where is that? In which in one song every day sing. I think Paramakaruna or Gauranga Dutipada. Somewhere there is one. I have become old and I have been attacked by 5 kinds of diseases. Pancharoga Hatha. There is one. There is a place where Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Pancharoga means I was just many times I was searching what are all the 5 types of diseases you get when you become old. I didn't get till now. So like that, these Subhashitas were, who has given, nobody knows, but it is comes from the scriptures. So it's like that. And I would say it is the nichod bolte hain, it is the essence of the scriptures. People cannot read so many things regarding eating, regarding sleeping, how to regulate these all things, about how to associate, how not to associate. So they give in 1 or 2 verses in such a way that the whole thing comes to 1 verse or the 2 verses. Just like Bhajagovindam. It gives the whole essence of the whole life. If you read Bhajagovindam, the verses and all, and each and every acharya in the Shankara Sampradaya, they added one verse, and it went to 30 verses. Actually, Shankaracharya gave, I think, 11 or 12 verses, but he went on. The acharyas were adding, each and every acharya were adding one verse, and it went to Bhajagovindam verse, went to 30 verses. So it is like that. Okay, so we will continue. In this verse, so first of all, we should, now those devotees who have come just now, I'm just introducing again that this we are reading from Bhaktyaloka book, which deals with 2 verses of the Śrīla Rupa Goswami's Śrī Upadeshamrita. One is the Atyahara Prayasasya verse, and the other verse is Utsaha Dhairyasya Karma. These 2 verses is Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Thakur dealt with and wrote the commentary for these verses. So now we are reading from the first verse. Okay. In this verse, so we are reading from here. So I don't know whether we're able to catch it or not. So that's why I should. In this verse, 6 impediments to devotional service are mentioned. Atyahara, Prayasascha, Prajalpa, Niyamagraha, Janasanga, and Laulya. We will separately discuss each of these 6 items. In this small chapter, only the meaning of the word Atyahara is being discussed. Just see, Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Thakur dedicated each chapter for one obstacle in devotional service. So first he deals with the obstacles of devotional service. Next he deals with the favorable things which are which will help us to advance in devotional service. So first he deals with that, with the obstructions. So we will read the obstructions. So first one, many people may think that the word Atyahara refers to overeating, but this is not so. It is explained in the first verse of Upadeshamrita. Oh, Krishna. Oh. Vacho vegam, manasah krodha vegam, jihva vegam, udaropastha vegam, etan veganyo vishaheta dhiraha, sarvam apimam prithvim sasishyat. Okay. It is not just we are reading the books. So those devotees who can understand and who can by heart the verses, so better do that. It is good to learn the verses and then repeat it whenever, whenever we remember them. So devotees, many devotees, if they know this verse, it's fine. But if they don't know, we can repeat once this verse, and then we can move ahead. Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. So devotees, can you please repeat with me? Vacho vegam,
Vacho vegam,
manasa krodha vegam,
Manasah Krodha Vegam,
jihva vegam,
jiva vegam,
etan veganyo,
Udarapastha Vegam,
etan veganyo,
udaropasta vegam,
udarupastha vegam,
etan veganyo,
etan veganyo,
vishaheta dhiraha,
vishaheta dhiraha,
sarvam apimam,
sarvam apimam,
prithvim sa shishyat.
prithivim sashishya.
Okay. Why I wanted devotees to read this verse? Because this verse is the precursor for the verse which we are trying to read. So this is most important verse because this verse is linked to this particular verse because this verse deals with the vacho and the jihva and the uttarapasta. Everything is linked. Okay, we will read it further. So that's why. So devotees are requested to please learn this verse. So, vacho vegam manasak krodha vegam jihva vegam udaropasta vegam etan vegan yogasheta dhiraha sarvam apinam pratvim sasishyat. A sober person who can tolerate the urge to speak, the mind's demands, the actions of anger and urges of the tongue, belly, and genitals is qualified to make disciples all over the world. Okay. In this regard, the urge of the tongue is the desire to taste foodstuffs. The urge of the stomach is the desire to overeat. If we understand the word atyahara in the second verse as overeating, the fault of repetition occurs in this condensed collection of essential instructions. Therefore, it is the duty of the learned readers to find other meanings of the word atyahara as used by the most grave Rupa Goswami. Did anybody get this? Get the point which is told in this
Yes,
particular
Prabhu,
paragraph?
yes.
Okay, what other devotees? Other devotees also should participate because my way of mm, discussing is that everybody should participate in this particular this one. Then we can churn a lot. So this verse actually is not a repetition. Less like in the Shastras, generally when somebody gives a book or writes something, repetition is considered as not so scholarly actually. But here Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying that here, if we understand the word atyahara as overeating, then the fault of repetition occurs in this. So there is a fault of repetition because already what is that? Vacho vegam and udaropastha vegam has already been discussed, which is relating to tongue. Then what is the point of explaining again atyahara, which is relating to the tongue? So there is a fault of repetition. But it is not so, and it is, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that it is the duty of the learned is to find other meanings of the word atyahara. So there are other meanings of the word atyahara, which is Bhaktivinoda Thakur is explaining. So we will continue to read. So did you get that? So this is the other meaning. We'll read. Although bhojana or eating is the principal meaning of the word ahara, the word bhojana. I just want to see the book. Okay. Here it is given one. You see here one is there. Ahara, one. Here, one, in the book, the meaning is given. Atyahara is the combination of ati or much and ahara or eating or collecting. Okay. So, although bhojana or eating is the principal meaning of the word ahara, the word bhojana also means to enjoy the objects of the five senses. Yeah. Actually, okay, this word bhojana comes from the root called bhuja, bhuj. You know, there is a verse in Bhagavad Gita. It says, Bhunjatet adam papam. You heard of this? I think you heard this verse. Bhunjatet adam papam se pachanti. What is that? Se
Atmakarana.
pachanti. Atmaka. So bhunjatet adam papam is bhojana. The other word is called bhunjana. Bhunjate. So this bhoja comes from the root word, just like yoga comes from the word called rujuj. So like that, the bhojan comes from the word called bhuj. Bhuj means enjoying. Actually, it's called bhojan means enjoying, and the which comes from the root word, which comes from the root word that bhojana is also called enjoying. So enjoying through what? Enjoying through the senses. So this body cannot enjoy separately because the body means five senses. So through the senses we enjoy. So the bhojana means to enjoy the objects of the five senses. Formed by the eyes, sound. Now, what is that? There are five things. What is that? Five things. Rupa. What is that? Rupa.
Rupa rasa.
Rupa, rasa, gandha. Then
Shabda, Sparsa and Sabda.
Shabda, Sparsa. These are the five things we should understand. Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, Shabda, and Sparsa. If you read, we should know the Sanskrit word. Like, it is good to learn the Sanskrit word than just the English word. Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. Rupa means form. Rasa means taste. Then Rupa, Rasa, Gandha means smell. Then what is that? Then what is that? Sparsa means touch. And what is the last one?
Shabda.
Shabda. Shabda means the sound. So form by the eyes, sound by the ears, smell by the nose, taste by the tongue, feeling of heat and cold, soft and hard by the touch. So in this way, the five senses enjoy. This type of material enjoyment is compulsory for an embodied soul.
What does this
Without
mean, Prabhu,
enjoying-
actually?
What is that?
Can you please explain this statement?
What is that? Which statement?
This type of material enjoyment is compulsory for an embodied soul.
Yeah, this type of that's what I was trying to explain this. So the point is that every living entity once the jiva leaves leaves the spiritual world, leaves the association of Krishna, then he leaves the spiritual body, then he leaves everything, and what is that? Krishna Bhuli say Jeev, Krishna Bhuliya Jeev, Bhoga Vancha Kare, Pashete Maya Tare, Jhapotiya Dhare. Means once the jiva leaves the spiritual world, then the Maya catches him. So when Maya catches him, then he has to enjoy this world. Then Maya gives him a separate body. Maya gives him a body material body, which has these five senses. So every type of material enjoyment, one has to go through these five senses. So that means every embodied soul must enjoy through these five senses. That means he is in the cage. He is encaged. That is why he is encaged, embodied, or he is conditioned by the five senses.
But not for the Krishna conscious soul, right? Like I'm asking.
No. This is nothing to do with Krishna consciousness. No. This is to understand Krishna consciousness, that we are encaged. That is right. But for the time being, we should understand that how we are encaged, how we enjoy this world. Just I will explain, and then Goloka Prabhu, you can I will give you a chance to speak. Just give me a second. Okay. So, so this type of material enjoyment. So material enjoyment means it is with senses. So it starts from five senses. It extends to karmendriyas, it's gyanendriyas, karmendriyas, and and the other bodies, and even the whole mind, senses, the subtle body. So everything it goes. So, so the material enjoyment means the embodied soul should enjoy through the five senses. Other than that, it is not possible. Just like the ghosts. Ghosts have senses, but they cannot enjoy because they don't have a gross body. Because you need to have a gross body to enjoy. With the mind, you can't enjoy. You can only think, feel, and will, but there is no enjoyment. Unless one may enjoy even in ghostly body, but ghosts enter into another body which are which are little bit tamogun or anything, and then they enjoy through that. But still, you need a material body or senses to enjoy. Okay, Goloka Prabhu, you wanted to say something?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dhanava Pranams.
Goloka
So-
is you. I was thinking, who is this Goloka? Tell me, Abdas. Prabhu.
So if you look and see, it talks about, one shouldn't click or eat too much. How can you break this down a little bit? How does it apply, like when it comes to prashadam?
No, we have not yet. No. We have not yet entered into the main part of Tyahara yet. We are just reading the initial. We are just entering. Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākūr will explain. We have not yet entered. We are just in the initial part, trying to explain as to what are the senses, how the sense enjoyment is there. Actually, here Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākūr doesn't explain about eating so much. He explains about the enjoyment part of the Tyahara. Eating is just part of this. Tongue is just part of this. That's why that is why it is written here. The urge of the tongue is desired to taste foodstuffs. The urge of the stomach is desired to overeat. But here the Atyahara is not relating to overeating because he is not repeating here. That's what I am trying to explain. You understanding?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So we will read Atyahara, what is there. Then it's, of course, Atyahara, ahara means eating. It's also included. But there are many other meanings to it, which Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākūr is trying to unpack it. So we will wait until what is actual meaning. So slowly he takes us from five senses and how through five senses we are enjoying, how we are embodied. So it might be a little bit more like again we are going to the kindergarten, but this is required because we will forget it so many things. Many times while reading so many books of Prabhupada, we will forget that we have to control our senses, control our tongue. We will become so fat in Krishna consciousness. I've seen so many devotees, they can't control their tongue. They eat so much, they collect so much because we have to know the basics, right? Otherwise, it is very difficult. It might be a kindergarten kind of a thing because so many years, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, 10 years in Krishna consciousness. Again and again, what is this? We are reading the same things. It is not. So let me.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay.
This next line, living entity, means the embodied one, which Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākūr is talking about.
Yeah, that is what we will see.
Yeah.
So without enjoying the sense objects, a living entity cannot survive. You see, we need not actually discuss so much. If we discuss little and then we go on reading, then so many things Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākūr himself he writes. You see, without enjoying the sense objects, a living entity cannot survive. So in order to survive, because what is that? There is a verse in Bhagavad Gita. It is said that naikatsit kshanamapi jatu tishtatya karma krit. The living entity cannot live without doing anything. Naikatsit kshanamapi jatu tishtatya karma krit. Without doing karma or activity, he cannot live. So that means the living entity means without enjoying the sense objects, living entity cannot survive. So this is what. So as soon as the living entity gives up enjoyment, he leaves his body. You see. So these two are very, very important here. So therefore, giving up sense enjoyment is only. Oh, Krishna. Oh, Krishna. Therefore, giving up sense enjoyment is only a figment of the imagination. It can never be applied in practice. As actually, we should understand that even though we are trying to become Krishna conscious, unless until we get a spiritual body, this mentality of enjoyment, enjoying in this world cannot be given up by the material body or the material senses or the material mind or the intelligence. It takes a lot of time to purify the material mind and to become spiritual. Prabhupada said very clearly that this iron, when it is put in the hot, when it is put in the fire over a period of time, grabs the qualities of the fire and it becomes fire. So the same way, mind or the intelligence or the whole existence, our actually subtle body, that should be purified. The consciousness should be purified. To purify the consciousness is not so easy. So that's why it is. So giving up sense enjoyment cannot be done unless and until we put a hard, effort for that. Because as long as we have this material body, there is urge for through the five senses. There is urge for the senses, urge for the eyes, urge of the ears, urge of the tongue, urge of the genitals, urge of the stomach. We have this. So we can't just give up this. So we are trying to dovetail in Krishna consciousness, but it takes time, it takes effort. It might take years, it might take lifetimes. So that's why the Sharanagati principles, the favorable, all these go hand in hand. Remembering of Krishna, doing everything for Krishna, eating for Krishna, seeing for Krishna, hearing for Krishna, what is that? Touching devotees, touching the deities, everything matters because it has subtle impressions on the consciousness in such a way that we carry it to the next body. So that's why devotees, those who are serious in Krishna consciousness, they see to that they are not attached to any of the material things which might give an impression to their mind, impression to their body, impression to their intelligence, such a way that their spiritual consciousness is getting they are getting diverted. So it's too much disturbance for them. So it's a very serious thing. So this one statement, giving up sense enjoyment, is only a figment imagination. It can never be applied in practice. So, but Lord Krishna says, see, I have told, I didn't read this here. There is Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives this particular verse here. Okay, very good. I mean, so I'm trying, whatever I told, somehow Bhaktivinoda Thakur here is mentioning. I didn't think about this. I was thinking of this verse, but I never thought that Bhaktivinoda Thakur will write the same verse. Lord Shri Krishna instructed Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita 3.56. Nahi kachit kshanamapi jatu tishtatya karma karyate hi avashak karma sarva prakriti jair gunai karmendriyani samyamya yaste manasa smaran indriyarthan vimudhatma mityacharas uchyate. These two verses are very, 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 very important. Aha. Okay. Okay. Maybe I should. It's too much. Okay. Everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. One who restrains the senses of actions, but whose mind dwells on sense objects, certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender. This is a very, very important verse. So everyone is forced to act helplessly. If you have Bhagavad Gita, kindly pull it out. Pull up this verse. Okay. So in Bhagavad Gita 3.5, here it is there. Nai kakshik kshanamapi jatu tishtatya. Okay. Prabhupada writes in the purport that it is not a question of embodied life, but it is the nature of the soul to be always active. Without the presence of the spirit soul, the material body cannot move. And Prabhupada explains that body is a vehicle and he cannot move active without the spirit soul. Prabhupada writes that as such, the spirit soul has to be engaged in good work of Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, it will be engaged in the occupations dedicated to illusory energy occupations dictated by illusory energy. In contact with material energy, the spirit soul acquires material modes, and to purify the soul from such affinities, it is necessary to engage in prescribed duties enjoined in the Shastras. So the main important thing to understand here, the main thing is that people may say, now I am this, I am that, and they say I don't have any attachment, I don't enjoy, I don't do this. But it is not possible. Every soul has to do something or the other. That's why Prabhupada says that spirit soul means, the spirit soul, if it is there in a particular body, means it has to be engaged in some other work. If it is not engaged in Krishna consciousness, it has to dedicate his life. It has to engage his senses dictated by the illusory energy. Somehow, either we have to serve Maya or you have to serve Krishna. You can't be in the middle. You can't escape from that. Either you are under the material energy or you are under the spiritual energy. Actually, many of the people all over in this material world, they are actually mithyacharas. One who restrains the senses of action, but mind dwells on the sense objects, certainly deludes himself, and is called a pretender.
Yeah. Actually, I wanted to say something on this. Krishna is saying one who restrains the senses of action, but whose mind dwells on sense objects. But people, they say that I am not restraining my senses. I am doing what my mind says. So
no, the thing is, see, when we are not in Krishna consciousness, you need not restrain your senses, because you don't know what is the difference between your sense, mind, and intelligence. There is a difference between sense, mind, and intelligence. You don't know what is the activity of the sense, what is the activity of the mind, what is the activity of intelligence. So you do whatever senses are directing. You don't know what is what. It is like the same example of the horses which are being uncontrolled, and which are the chariot driver is falling, the passenger is falling. So he doesn't know, because he's out of control. One who has gone already out of control, he need not restrain anything. He will do whatever his mind is telling, whatever is, because he doesn't have any difference between sense, mind, and intelligence. There is no difference between that.
yeah.
He may say, I need not restrain, but
So
the thing
he's
is
a
that
pretender or not? He will be called a pretender.
Obviously, he's obviously a pretender. See, one is not Krishna conscious, obviously a pretender. It is no doubt about this. But one who says like that, it is for the sake of saying. Because of all the senses, Krishna says, I am mind. That means, Savai Mana Krishna Padaravindriya. Only when one's mind is attached to Krishna, then sense control, then mind control, then the intelligence, everything comes into its right perspective. Otherwise, it is not just sense control. That's why those people who are too much of yogi, doing yoga, meditation, hatha yoga, all these people, they look very good because they eat sattvic food. They live a very sattvic life. Actually, compared to ISKCON temples, many other, if you go to Isha Yoga, they eat organic food. They don't eat white rice. They eat brown rice. They serve brown rice. They give whatever is cooked in their inner around whatever. Actually, compared to ISKCON, they don't eat paneer like what we eat. If you there's so many temples, they follow very strict regime as to what is the diet is. They are very minimalistic. They are even ISKCON devotees are only having so many things. I don't want to say all these things, but what I'm saying is that we have Krishna. We are doubting our senses for Krishna. That's the only thing which is there at our disposal. Although we are meant to control our senses, we are meant to do all these things. But what I'm trying to say is that compared to us, once I was thinking about all these things, they have a better way of life. The culture of life is different, but they don't have Krishna. What is the use of having all those things? So obviously they are a pretender. In that way, we conclude that they are a pretender. And as far as the yogic principles are concerned, they may be very good, but if they don't have Krishna, then even if they have so many things, there is no use. Okay, we will read further. Since maintaining one's life is not possible without action, one must work to maintain his life. If such activities are done in the mood of enjoyment, then one's qualification as a human is lost and he becomes like an animal. Therefore, if one can transform all his bodily activities into activities favorable for devotional service, then it is Bhakti Yoga. Okay. It is said in one, in one verse, it is said that even the lion, it has to go and hunt the prey. It is not that it is sitting and it is opening its mouth, then the prey enters into its mouth. So it doesn't happen like that. So it has to work. So like that, if one has to act. Sorry?
Nahi
Nahi
suptasya
suptasya
simhasya pravishanti mukhe mrga.
Mukhe mrga. So the thing is, even the singer, even the lion, it is not that the prey enters into its mouth. No, it has to work hard. But in human form of life, if you just work hard, then we enter into the mood of enjoyment, and then our human form of life is lost. What is that? Kamasya nendriya preetir. What is that? Kamasya nendriya preetir labho jiveta yavata jivasya tattva jigyasa narto yasche karma bhi. It's very, very important verse. Devotees should buy out this verse. This is very, very important. Kamasya, human life is one's life goals should not be directed towards sense gratification. It is said that Kamasya nendriya preeti labho jiveta yavat jivasya tattva jigyasa. I can pull up that verse. Jivasya tattva jigyasa narto checks. The life desires should never be directed towards sense gratification. One should desire only healthy life or self-preservation, since human being is meant for inquiry about the absolute truth. Nothing else should be the goal of one's work. It is not this verse. There are n number of verses. There are thousands and thousands of verses explaining about the importance of human life. Labdva sudurlabhamidam, then durlabham manusham janmam. It's so many verses. So many verses are there explaining about the importance of the human form of life. I am seeing one cockroach which is going in and around the place where I am sitting. So this cockroach and me, there is no difference between me and cockroach. The same thing. But I, as a human being, I have the opportunity to inquire about the Lord, inquire about the absolute truth. So I can also work the same way bodily activities. Therefore, if one can transform his bodily activities into activities favorable for devotional service, then it is called bhakti. Again, the Lord says in Gita, 6th chapter, 16th, 17th verse, and 5th chapter, 8th and 9th verse. Natyans, every time I have this trouble to read this. Natyashantastu yogosti naichantex naichaikantam ashashnataha nachati swapnashilasya jagruto naiva chadvinam. One line is very difficult. Yuktahara vihadasya yukta chetasya karmashu yukta swapnava bhodasya yogo bhavati dukkha. Naiva kinchit karomeeti yukto manyeta tattvavid pashyan shrinman sparshan jagran ashnan gachan swapan shashan pralapan visrajan granan nimishan api indriyani indriyartheshu vartanta iti dharayan. Okay. There is no possibility of one's becoming a yogi, O Arjuna, if one eats too much, or eats too little, sleeps too much, or does not sleep enough. He who is temperate in his habits in eating, sleeping, working, and recreation can migrate all material pains by practicing the yoga system. A person in the divine consciousness, although engaging in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping, and breathing, always knows within himself that he actually does nothing at all. Because while speaking, evacuating, receiving, or opening or closing his eyes, he always knows that only the material senses are engaged with their objects and that he is aloof from them. So, the main thing is that the soul is engaged in this body. It is, okay. Here it is written that a person in divine consciousness, although engaged in seeing, hearing, all these things, sleeping, always knows within himself that he actually does not do nothing at all. What is that? Actually does nothing at all. Because while speaking, evacuating, receiving, or opening or closing his eyes, he always knows that only the material senses are engaged. Material senses are engaged with their objects and that he is aloof from them. He means what? The soul is aloof from them. But whatever actions are being taken care of, that is done only on the bodily platform. Okay. Although these instructions are effective for jnanis, still their purport is favorable for devotional service. The concluding verse of Bhagavad Gita explains about Sharanagati, or full surrender. Keeping this in mind, one should renounce fruitive activities and philosophical speculation and accept sense objects as the Lord's mercy. This is known as pure devotional service. Bhaktivinoda Thakur here, actually, he is not just revolving around the words, he's not giving just the meaning of the word as eating and just trying to give more and more about how to control the eating. He is trying to give the Sharanagati part, and he's trying to explain that how we can engage all our mind, all our senses, all our activities in Krishna's service. So that is the favorable. So the favorable part is that we have the sense objects. That is the favorable. We are being favored to get the sense objects. So don't utilize now in sense enjoyment, use that in Krishna's service. That is the essence of the whole Atyar. That is the only thing. So in order to make that particular thing right in one's mind, all these are being given. Okay. Therefore, Śrīla Rupa Goswami has said in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 2.255-256, Anasaktasya Vishayan Yatharam Upayunjitaha Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yuktam Vairagyam Uchyate Prapanchikataya Buddhya Hari Sambandhe Vastunah Mumukshubhi Parutyago vairagyam phalgu katyate. Okay. When one is not attached to anything, but at the same time accepts everything in relation to Krishna, one is rightly situated about possessiveness. On the other hand, one who rejects everything without knowledge of its relationship to Krishna is not complete in his renunciation. See here, Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākūr says the purport of these two verses is repeated in Śrī Upadeshamrita by the rejection, by the instruction to reject atyahara. So this particular verse, this particular paragraph is very, very important. So thus from here we will read tomorrow because we will explain it. But before that, if you have any questions, we can take up, because this verse from here it takes to the different direction of this verse. So I don't want to touch it now. If anybody has anything to ask, they can unmute themselves and they can. Okay, Ramdas Prabhu. Okay, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So I have one question because I think I misunderstood something. You also mentioned that we will be reading from Śrīmad
I know that,
Bhagavatam.
but there is no time for that because there is so much in this. Because while I was going through the book, I saw that there are so many things. It's very difficult to go here and there.
Okay. And one thing is that anyway, I guess I should probably wait to talk
What is
about this
happening?
food, about the food, you know.
Everything will come. Everything will come in this. If it doesn't come, then you can bring it up. That's not a problem. For the time being,
Okay.
we will wait until. If it
Right.
is for food, see, these are they see. We are discussing. We have devotees have read Nectar of Instruction and they know some things here and there. We can churn that also. But the thing is, here we are trying to know the deeper part of Atyahara. It's not just eating prasadam or collecting everything, whatever we need. We don't want to collect everything. But it is to understand so many other aspects of Atyahara.
Well, the question I was going to ask is that if someone is full and devotee has the tendency of like, hey, take more. This is the anyway. Later I can ask. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Prabhuji,
sometimes
I
like
am
Srila
full.
Prabhupada.
Prabhuji, I am full, Prabhu. I don't want, but they put it.
It's like, if you visit someone, it's like, this is because what happened is that once you start, it's one thing to please someone, but that person should also know that you're trying to please them and not give you too much. Do you understand? This is also there. If you're saying like, look, I don't want anything, but I'll take a little bit.
See, the thing is, yeah. So the thing is, main important thing is that important aspect of Krishna consciousness is purification of heart. If one knows very certain that I am eating this prasadam, there are so many devotees. I'll tell you the example. There's so many devotees, they eat rotten food, rotten prasadam. Rotten prasadam. They eat so much rotten prasadam and nothing happens to them. I know a devotee, he takes just leftovers. Nothing happens to him. You may say, oh, what is this? He is taking rotten prasadam so much, but he thinks that devotees are wasting prasadam and he eats that prasadam. So nothing happens to him. Even he doesn't get diseases also. So many devotees, it becomes rotten and they don't know, nobody wants to touch that. But it is the consciousness of a person, how we are. See, Prabhupada, when he does, Prabhupada also said we should take to our, this one.
Neck.
But at the same time, Prabhupada also, neck. Actually, Prabhupada said that Prabhupada used to show that to Yamuna Mataji when she cooked, he used to show his hand on his head. That means it is you can take it is marvelous. It's above his head. That means it is so good, prasadam. And at the same time he preached. See, the thing is that for devotees, if you think that the prasadam is creating problem for you and it is this one, so don't take. Then some devotees they take and nothing happens to them, and they are
So
very good.
then why restrain? Okay, so first thing I'll
It's
address,
not.
I'll
See,
address
why
one thing.
restrain? No. See, one thing we should understand that we should not overeat.
Okay.
It is the general. It is not. It is a general instruction. Okay, and at the same time, we should not take anything other than prasadam. Is right.
Srila
But
Prabhupada says no one ever die from under eating. He himself says this, and he's not talking about
no.
he's not talking about
No.
boga. He's talking about just eating.
No,
Right?
see, yeah. See, the thing is that if you are too much in that principle, if you are following, you follow that. But at the same time, there are devotees who eat full, and there is like that is uh, nothing. Like it is not that they are. Sometimes devotees eat. There is nothing wrong in taking full prasadam because it is prasadam. But at the same
Yeah.
time, it is instructions are there that you should control. So it doesn't mean that you should not take. Sometimes because of prasadam, we take it because it is prasad. Yeah.
But if one body is full, you mean it comes to a point if one feels full. I mean, okay. Let's go to the first thing that you said. You said that Srila Prabhupada says we should eat until our neck. This instruction was given for newcomers. That's my
Yes.
understanding. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
No.
But my
See
understanding
the
is
thing. See the thing is during the initial days of Krishna consciousness, or in any stage of Krishna consciousness, purification of heart is more important. So, in the initial stage of Krishna consciousness, when we come to Krishna consciousness newly, so it is recommended or it is said that one takes more and more, one becomes more and more attached to the tongue. So, since he is attached more to the tongue, so better he takes more and more and more and more prasadam in such a way that his tongue will not run around for other foodstuffs which are material foodstuffs. These are not prasad. So for those people, those souls who come newly to Krishna consciousness, for them they take more and more. But at the same time, because there are instructions are there, and over a period of time, as and when the purification of heart happens and we advance in Krishna consciousness, so the instructions are there that by taking more and more, your senses go under uncontrolled. So better take that much as and when it is required, or even if you take little, even if you take undereat also, you will not. You will not. It's not that you will die. So it's like that. So it is. It depends on your in what way, in what level of surrender you are. In that way, you should accept. So that is
so
what.
based on what it is that you said. If you said though it's prasadam, it depends on your consciousness. Okay, let me eat the whole pot of prasadam every day. What do you think would happen to me? I'm just curious. It's prasadam.
No,
Is it not
no,
prasadam?
no.
Should I overeat?
But you have a limit of your stomach also. You may eat the whole thing, but you end up
Exactly.
so you end up becoming diseased also because by overeating you
Exactly.
get diseased. So the thing is that
So
even if it is prasadam, you control yourself. Otherwise, you will end up diseased and end up diseased, and that is diseased is first thing. Second thing is that you may end up uncontrolled senses also.
So it's not just the consciousness, because we also see many devotees who end up with problem due to, taking certain prasadam. Not all prasadam, but certain prasadam, they end up with some kind of sickness. My point is that we also, is like, you give the example of, I know a devotee that takes leftover prasadam because they don't want to waste it. And because of his consciousness,
No, but leftover doesn't mean that take the whole thing. They take
there you go.
in such a way that if it is leftover a little.
Yes, because someone cannot understand what it is that's being said, and they'll be like, okay, you should take as much. And so this is what I'm saying is like, okay, the example is there, but the detail makes a difference.
Yeah. See, the thing is, it depends on the person, it depends on the level of surrender, it depends on the sensory attachment. Even if all these things are at the right perspective, even if you have the level of surrender, still one has to be very, very careful in such a way that because we are in the material body, we are having material senses, that there is any time we may glide down to overeating. It might happen to anybody for that matter. Like, for example, even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was served so much that he also said that I should not eat so much. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu.
That's why I
And yeah,
think it is
sorry?
wise. That's why Mahaprabhu said that Balana Khaibe, Balana Khaibe.
Bhalana Kharibe or Bhalana Paribe. So the first instruction to Rupa Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami is this, that even Jagadananda Pandit also says this. Don't eat too much and don't wear opulent dress. Always remember Radha Krishna in your heart. In this way, you can attain me quickly. Okay, so we will continue tomorrow from this place. Okay, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Śrī Bhaktyāloka ki jai, Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭ𝚑ā𝚔 ki jai. Jagadguru Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Vanchakalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhebhyo vachanapatitanam bhavadebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu,
Yes,
can I share one story real fast or no?
yes, yes.
Okay. So when I was in the middle of working to get like something for books, and I asked one of my, which is now my godbrother, but before he was my godbrother, I was helping him to like come into Krishna consciousness. So I asked him to help me and just lend me a loan, and I'll pay you back. And he was like, I can't lend you a loan because even a morsel of this money, if it's used for sense gratification, I will go into like deep, he fall down, whatever it is. He said, this is basically what I got, is that he will fall down. Now lately, same guy, brother, not too long ago, throw a whole big festival for families and friends. At this point in time, it didn't matter if the money that he's talking about that was used for Krishna consciousness is now being used for the sense gratification of those individuals. So the same thing, I was using it for books, for the purpose of books. I was in a position that I needed to contribute something. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm saying something. Guys, you were saying something?
I'm saying that it is, it is it was just an excuse. He doesn't want to give you the money. That's the only.
Yeah, but we also have to be careful of how we treat,
So,
how we treat others as well, because these things comes back.
but
So
this has to do something. No, this has to do something with Atyahara. This has to do with something.
so this is my point, is that we don't become too attached to these things, in the sense of, example, if I'm full and a devotee is asking me for taking prasadam, Prabhu, no, I can't take anything. We should also satisfy the devotees. This is the point. It's like, yes,
Yeah.
I might have the, might be full, but also the devotee should also understand, because these things because we're trying to please who? Krishna. You said we're trying to purify the heart. We're not taking it for us. We're taking it because we're already full, but we're also taking it to please the devotee. Anyway, Hare Krishna.
Yeah. But sometimes what is happening is that in the guise of pleasing the devotee, you become diseased also. So don't please so much devotees. You may please little. You have to please. That is fine. But we have to see our this one also. Sometimes what I do is that devotees try, like, whenever I go to India or somewhere, these times, because I used to serve a lot prasadam, and devotees know that I am very much they know my so-called cunning nature, that I serve a lot and I give so much of prasadam to devotees. So what these devotees, they plan in such a way that they make me to sit, and they try to serve more and more sweet rice, more and more rasgullas, or gulab jamun, or whatever it is. They want to feed more. So what I do is that I say that I will take later, I will take later, I will take later, I will say, and at one point of time I will take even little, and then I will just grab the plate and then just run away and then wash the hands. So sometimes we have to please, but by pleasing so-called, of course, devotees, by pleasing devotees, you will become problematic. So you have to be clever enough and to run away from the place where I should get peace. Or please devotees, you may end up problems. So you should know who to please, what to please. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Thank you,
Hare
all
Krishna.
devotees. I'm not able to. Mataji's also. And pranam. Sometimes Mataji's also can speak. I'm not giving chance. I don't know. Hare Krishna. Thank you.